A warm welcome to Diski Talk with Luyolo. If you're tuning in for the very first time, I do ask that you please subscribe and hit that notification bell. If you've been a part of this journey, I hope you thoroughly enjoy this episode. So, on today's episode, I discuss all things Dstv Premiership action as Mamelodi Sundowns take on Kaizer Chiefs. So, on today's episode, then, we're going to have a tactical pre-match analysis of that mouth-watering encounter. So, the blue team will represent Mamelodi Sundowns and then the red team will represent Kaizer Chiefs. The last time out then, Mamelodi Sundowns did win 2-1 away against Sekhukhune United, and then Kaizer Chiefs drew at home where they were playing at Moses Mabhida 0-0 against Chippa United. However, when you have a look at this one then, this does then remind me of last season, because last season they did play very early on within the season, and we do know that ended 4-0 in favor of Mamelodi Sundowns. However, this time around then, it is a new season, there's new players, and there's also a new approach with regards to how the teams are trying to play, more specifically Mamelodi Sundowns. However, let's get into it and have a look at it. So, with Mamelodi Sundowns then, they do play a 4-4-2 diamond out of possession. In possession then, they do go then to a 3-box-3. However, the most important thing to note then that with this Mamelodi Sundowns side, they're very dynamic and tactically they're very flexible. So in possession of the ball, there are certain things that you could see and there are certain variations that you could see with regards then to their shape. However, let's have a look at the personnel. So in goals then, you do have Ronan Williams, and then at left back, the last time out, they did start with Batuel, then they started with Lebusa, and then they had Rivaldo Kutsia, and then at right back, they did start with Mudau. However, Rivaldo Kutsia did pick up a red card against Sekhukhune, so he won't play in this game, and that then does give a chance to another player then to come into this lineup. However, how will Mamelodi Sundowns go about things, especially considering that Rivaldo Kutsia was very important for this Mamelodi Sundowns side with regards to his hybrid role of in possession, he would step in to form a double pivot with Tebogo Mokoena. Out of possession, then he'd go back to that centre-back role. So what do I think Mamelodi Sundowns will do? So what I think Mamelodi Sundowns will do is that instead of Modiba starting further forward, what we will see then is Modiba starting at left back, and then you will have Batuel there, then you have Lebusa there, then you have Mudau, and then moving on then right along within the heart of midfield, what you will have then, you have Mokoena there, you'll have Mayama on the left side of the diamond. Top of the diamond, you have Tembazwane. On the right side of the diamond, you have Marcelo Allende. And then you will have Peter Shalile. And then you will have Lucas Ribeiro. So that is Mamelodi Sundowns with regards to what I think that they will start with regards to personnel going into this game against Kaizer Chiefs. However, let's have a look at Mamelodi Sundowns in possession and in build-up phase. So with Mamelodi Sundowns, we do know that they are a team that look to build up from very deep, and a team then that really prioritizes keeping the ball and being able then to ensure that they can institute that numerical superiority already within first phase. However, what would they look like? So I did mention then that in possession, they do go to a 3-box-3. What then you will see then with this Mamelodi Sundowns side within first phase, within build-up phase, that they do create this box then, where then you will have Modiba there, and then you have Mokoena there, who then look to be the first receivers then within that area of the pitch, where then they are trying then to institute that numerical overload. However, when you move then to second phase and the third phase, what do they look like? So I did mention that this Mamelodi Sundowns side go to a 3-4-3 box, but what would that look like? So on the left hand side then offering width, you will have Neo Mayema, you have Shalile, then you have Lucas Ribeiro, then you have Tembazwane, and then you have Allende, then the double pivot of Modiba, and you have Mokoena. And then you will have Batuel going there as a left side centre back. You have Lebusa there. And then you will have Mudau then, who does become the right sided centre back. So when you have a look at it then, this is the shape that you would see from this Mamelodi Sundowns side with regards to their in possession shape and what they'd be looking to do then. So what you do see then is a 3-2-4-1, or you can look at it then from a perspective of a 3-2-5 with 5 attackers then looking to break in. And when you have a look at it then, they do institute the central overload with the 4 of the box versus the 3 against Kaizer Chiefs. However, they still do then stretch the opposition and create width then with their wingers in Mayema and Lucas Ribeiro, where then they are also creating then those 1v1 situations where they can look then to isolate with regards to going 1v1 with their fullback. So when you have a look at this then does improve Mamelodi Sundowns with regards to their in-possession shape and also their offensive scheme, especially considering that Coach Rulani Mukwena did say then in the presser leading up to this game that last season he felt that they become very predictable with regards to their diamond and how they just overload the center. And when you have a look at the diamond, is that it is a system which is very narrow and doesn't have much width. However, when you look at it from this perspective, this box allows them to overload the center and have that numerical superiority. And it still then allows them then to also have the width then and also then create that qualitative superiority within those wide areas. And with regards then to positional superiority and getting some of the most creative and most influential players as high as possible in between the lines as close as possible to the box. So that would be Themba Zwane and that would be Marcelo Allende. So this is what you'd see from this Mamelodi Sundowns side then with regards to in possession and what they'd be looking to do and how then they'd be looking then to ensure that they can dominate proceedings and look then to create opportunities and break into the box. So that is Mamelodi Sundowns with regards then to their in possession shape and how then they could look to hurt this Kaizer Chiefs side. Most notably then, like I did mention, because Kaizer Chiefs play with the midfield 3, then they will be looking then to overload this Kaizer Chiefs midfield with that box within midfield, which then will cause a lot of problems for Kaizer Chiefs and ask a lot of questions of them while then still maintaining the width. However, out of possession, what do they look like with regards to how they're looking to press? Because we do know that this Mamelodi Sundowns side is a very aggressive pressing side and they've got very intense pressing schemes. So with regards to Mamelodi Sundowns and how they look to press, so how then this Mamelodi Sundowns look to press then is very much then within their 4-4-2 diamond. So let's just do that. So what you do see then with this Mamelodi Sundowns side and how they look to press then is that you have Shalile going on the right side at centre-back, who will most likely be given Simango. You have Lucas Ribeiro then looking then to go on the left side at centre-back, who will most likely be Titlokwe. And then you have Themba Zwane going on the pivot, which will most likely be Castillo. So this is how this Mamelodi Sundowns side look to press and how then they look to win the ball back. And they look then to force opposition to go long and force them into areas, not allowing the opposition then to have a smooth and seamless build-up. So the job then of the 8s becomes quite key then, because then they ensure that whenever the ball then passes the first line of pressure and goes into the wide area, into the fullback, for example, then they look to break out and combat that situation. Without the ball then, when they do sit deeper, what do they look like? So what you do see then from this Mamelodi Sundowns side then is that they go to somewhat of the shape where then it is a 4-3-1-2. So this is the shape then that you would see from Mamelodi Sundowns without the ball, and what they'd be looking like, and look to be very compact to ensure that they deny the opposition space in between the lines where then they can't break them down. So you do see this 4-3-1-2 shape. However, it is key to note then that this Mamelodi Sundowns side do look to counter press as well. So they're a side that doesn't go for long periods without the ball. When you have a look at it then with regards to their offensive set pieces, a player then of Mutiba's quality becomes quite key with regards to delivering then in swingers and out swingers. You've also got Marcelo Allende and you've got Tebogo Mokoena as well, who are key set piece takers for this Mamelodi Sundowns side. When you have a look then at a weakness then with regards to this Mamelodi Sundowns side, I would say then it is those defensive set pieces. They do tend to concede quite a number of chances from those situations with regards to how then they'd be looking to defend, and crosses as well. And when a team then is able to institute those wide overloads and penetrate within the wide area and get the ball into the box, they do look vulnerable in those situations. However, coming up then into this encounter then, a player then who I think will be key for this Mamelodi Sundowns side then, there's quite a number of players who I think will be key, but we will start with Aubrey Mutiba, and I say he will be key then because he becomes key with regards to inverting within the heart of midfield and then creating that double pivot with Tebogo Mokoena to ensure then that he does give them then that numerical superiority within the heart of midfield against Kaizer Chiefs. And then when you move then further forward, a player then of Peter Shalile Mapele's quality. He has started off very well because then we did see him convert against Sekhukhune. However, there were a couple of chances that he did miss. But coming up into this encounter against Kaizer Chiefs, I do foresee him then being able then to register his name and get more goals. Coming off the bench, then, they do have quite a number of players that can come off the bench and make an impact. So you do have Thapelo Maseko, who is very quick, who we saw then made an impact then against Sekhukhune United. You do have a player then of Junior Mendieta's quality as well, who can always come off the bench then and look then to add that offensive quality. That is Mamelodi Sundowns side then with regards to how do they look to impose themselves and how then they look to do things. So moving on then right along, let's have a look then at Kaizer Chiefs. So when you have a look at Kaizer Chiefs then, they do play then with the 4-2-3-1. So when you have a look at the personnel then, in goals, you do have Peterson. As the right-sided centre-back, you've got Given Msimango. At right back, you've got Reeve Frosler. As the left-sided centre-back, you do have Ditlogwe. At left-back, you do have Sfiso Hlanti. Moving on then, right along within the heart of midfield, you've got Castillo, you've got Mart. However, Castillo does play as the deepest within the heart of midfield. And then you've got Nkosimpile Ngobo. Off the right-hand side, you do have Saile. Off the left-hand side, you've got Ndu Shabalala. Up front, you then have Ranga Chivaviro. So that is Kaizer Chiefs then with regards to their 4-2-3-1. However, we do know that there are quite a number of options because then the last time out, Potsane didn't play. You also then have Pule Modi also didn't start as well. And you've also got Duduzim Tanzania as well, who can always lend add quality within the lineup for this Kaizer Chiefs side. You also have Ashley Dupree as well. So there are a number of players that Kaizer Chiefs then could go into this game with against Sundowns that could actually start, as opposed to some of these players then within the attacking positions, especially considering then how much offensive threat that this Kaizer Chiefs side have lacked and how much they've struggled then with regards to chance creation and being able then to ensure that they can get shots on target. However, let's have a look at Kaizer Chiefs in possession and what they look to do. So with regards to this Kaizer Chiefs side, they do also look to build up from very deep, but what does their structure look like? So with regards to Kaizer Chiefs then, what you do see then is this 2-3 structure where you've got two center backs and then both full backs stay very wide and deep. Then you've got Castillo who drops in the deepest, looking then to be the first receiver. Then Mart would normally move further up within the half space. Then you'd have sort of two advanced 8 within that regard with regards to how then they'd be looking to position themselves. However, sometimes what you do see then is Mart looking to drop deep then and looking to ensure that he can add an extra option within the heart of midfield as a first receiver. But then you also have a player like Reeve Frosler, who's very good then in possession of the ball and has very good technical ability. So sometimes what you do see then from Reeve Frosler is that he can also look to invert and come in, which then does give Kaizer Chiefs two options within that deep pocket of space with regards to looking then to progress the ball. And that is Kaizer Chiefs then with regards to how they would look in build-up. However, what do they look like then within second and third phase? So with this Kaizer Chiefs side then, what you do see then, for example, let's say it is ball side fullback. So let's say Reeve Frosler has it there. So let's just push. Saile would tuck in there. Let's just push the numbers up. Show you what you would have with this Kaizer Chiefs side. So what you would see then from this Kaizer Chiefs side then, when they do have the ball within the opposition half. So ball side fullback, for example, you've got Reeve Frosler there who's gone on an overlap. You will have Saile, the right winger, looking then to tuck in. And then you would then have Ranga there. You'd have Nkosimpile Ngobo there. You'd have Ndu Shabalala, the opposite side winger, looking to tuck in. Then you've got Mart also looking to break in. Castillo would look to sit deep. On the far side fullback, for example, Hlanti would be looking to tuck in and then become the third centre back. So that is pretty much the shape that you would see from this Kaizer Chiefs side. You'd also see it from the left. But I did mention that Frosler is very good in possession of the ball and he does look to invert from time to time. So sometimes you could see him being the one inverted. Then you could see the right winger offering the width. Could be Saile there. You could also have Potsane, for example, who could play. Then you'd have Frosler then more tucked in within that half space. So that is Kaizer Chiefs then with regards to what would they look like. With regards to how they look to press, because we have seen that they are a team then that does look to press from the top. So what they look to press like then is a 4-2-3-1 block. So let's just move them into their 4-2-3-1 block. So what you do see then is that you'd have that shape where it is a 4-2-3-1 block. They'd look to press like that. But because they are playing against Sundowns, which then create that box in build-up. It's going to be very interesting to see then how do they combat that situation. Do they then get Nkosimpile Ngcobo to join in and try press with two to ensure that Mamelodi Sundowns can't have a seamless build-up? But if they do that, then they do leave themselves exposed further up the pitch. So it's going to be very interesting to see then if they will look to press them high, or they'll just be looking then to adopt a mid-block. Without the ball further in their own half, when they are sitting deep, they do look to sit then within a 4-2-3-1 block. So this is the shape then that you would see from this Kaizer Chiefs side with regards to their 4-2-3-1 block. So you'd see them then sitting then within that shape, and then they would be looking then to stay as compact as possible, ensuring that a team of Mamelodi Sundowns quality can't play through them, where they can then generate those chances. When you have a look at Kaizer Chiefs then with regards to some of the weaknesses, when you have a look at Kaizer Chiefs then, so with regards to progressing the ball then and being able to create chances consistently, that does seem a weakness, as they've looked very tame in front of goal, and even then within the final third, they've really struggled in that regard. And from time to time then, they're still a team then that is still developing under Ntseki with regards to what Ntseki would like. And so sometimes they do tend to be a bit unorganized. But I would say that from last season, we have seen a slight improvement within the centre-back area, especially considering that they do have given Msimango and they've got Ditlhoko as well, which then assists them with regards to being able to defend those set pieces. And one thing then that could play out within this game is that the overall picture then is that we could see Mamelodi Sundowns then dominating proceedings, with Kaizer Chiefs having to sit back and having to soak up all that pressure and look then for possibilities of offensive transitions, where then they can try hit this Mamelodi Sundowns side successfully on the counter-attack. Key players then for Kaizer Chiefs coming up then into this encounter. I do think that given Msimango does become very key at the heart of defense with Ditlhoko, especially considering that they could find themselves then having to defend deep and having to defend their box. When you move on then right along within the heart of midfield, a player like Castillo does become very key, especially then when it comes to both sides. So that is in possession and out of possession. In possession, whenever then he does get the ball, very key that he is able then to ensure that he can look to progress the ball from deep with this Kaizer Chiefs side. Out of possession, very key then that he can remain disciplined, and he can then offer Kaizer Chiefs that's still within the heart of midfield. Also then the other midfielders being key with regards to helping him, especially when you consider the overload that Mamelodi Sundowns will institute with their box within the heart of midfield. So, ladies and gentlemen, then it is Mamelodi Sundowns versus Kaizer Chiefs then. They do then play then midweek, and they do play then at the Lucas Moripa Stadium. It is a very interesting encounter then, because the last time out then, it did end 4-0 in favor of Mamelodi Sundowns when they did play at home, and then the return leg was at FNB Stadium where it did end 1-0. So Mamelodi Sundowns did do the league double over Kaizer Chiefs last season. It is something that Kaizer Chiefs will be looking to avoid. However, at home, do let me know, how does this one play out then between Mamelodi Sundowns and Kaizer Chiefs? Who do you think walks away with all 3 points, or do you think they will share the spoils a point apiece? Thank you very much for tuning in to yet another special episode of Diski Talk with Liolo. Signing out.